Hey gang, welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a minute, but you all know, life happens. Today we're going to do a simple resto mod on a Lesney Matchbox number 65 combine harvester. When we come back, we'll take a look at what we got, and we'll get into it. The German-built Claas combine harvester was introduced into the Matchbox 1-75 series in 1967. Came in one color, as you can see, red. Not very Clausy if you ask me. There were a few variations to the casting over its 5-year production run. The earliest models having an open rear ladder and a few base plate changes as well. For not being a very popular toy at the time, they seem to pop up everywhere and are fairly inexpensive. So if you're looking to try and get into possibly restoring older vintage Matchbox, Hot Wheels, take a look. There's places all over. You can eBay, whatnot, Facebook Marketplace. The guy down the corner, he's got them in his pocket. Just ask him, he'll tell you. So what you see me doing here right now is I'm grinding down the axles. They're peened over, so I'm grinding them down so I can get the wheels and the revolving reel removed so they can be cleaned and properly painted. So here's everything apart with the exception of the base plate because, I don't know, somebody forgot to film doing it. Go figure. Anyway, front axle needs some love. I will take some steel wool to that and we'll get that cleaned up, looking nice, as well as the rear here. I gotta paint those rims, and its axle needs some love. And boom! Here we are, apart, stripped. Don't know why I didn't film putting it in a stripper either. I don't know. I'm an amateur at this. Anyway, base plate here. It's been stripped. I gotta take the brass wheel to this, get it cleaned up. And we'll get this thing stripped and ready for paint. So while I wheel away here at Mach 4, a little background on Claas. Was formed in Germany in 1913 in a little town called Hauser-Winkler. Hauser-Winkler? I know. Sorry to my German friends if I slaughtered that one. By Mr. August Claas. Not to be confused with Augustus Klump. If you oompa and you lumpa, then you know who he is. Claas is a family business and a European market leader in the combine harvesters and is considered a world leader in its foraging harvesters, also producing a multitude of agricultural machinery, from tractors and mowers, to tedders and balers, to wheel loaders, and even telehandlers. Bet you didn't know that. I didn't. They employ roughly 11,650 people, and according to the 2025 financial records, turned over around 4.9 billion euros, or roughly $5.7 billion for those of us that are on the other side of the pond. So let me shut my yap for a little bit. Let you guys sit back and enjoy me working here as I prep this thing to get it ready for paint. When we come back, we'll be in the spray booth and getting this thing ready in its new color. See you shortly. So if you're new here and you're wondering what I'm filing, there are casting lines on all of these models. So trying to get those knocked down, make it as clean as possible, make it look nice as possible. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. Back to it. Ever see somebody file at Mach 4? It's pretty quick, huh? Pretty amazing. Anyway, here we go. I have no idea what I'm pointing out here, but I'm pointing some stuff out for you. There's that, there's that. There's this thingy here, that thingy there, all that stuff. So, yeah, here we go. Back to it. As we wind it down here, and I clean these axles off with a little bit of steel wool, talk a little bit about our particular specimen. Turns out that it belongs to the Claas Matador family. The Matador came in two flavors, the Standard and the Gigant. We'll be focusing on the smaller Standard because I like to make life difficult and there's more information on the Gigant than there is the Standard. So, anyway, manufactured between 1962 and 1968, the Matador was the second in the Claas family, succeeding the Zollodiecast, which I know I slaughtered that one, don't hang me. With its 68 horsepower 4-cylinder, 3-speed 4.7 liter Claas LD40 diesel engine, it showcased a 260 centimeter or 8.5 foot header. It could reach a maximum speed of 15 kilometers an hour and had a crane capacity of 17 hectoliters or roughly 450 gallons. It was capable of covering roughly 1/2 to 1 hectare or roughly 1.5 to 2.5 acres an hour. It was solely designed for the smaller farmers, where the Gigant was targeted for larger contractors and farmers. So away to the spray booth we go! So I'm going to try and get this thing as close to Claas Green as possible, based on the older pictures. You can see here it's a little darker green than what today's Clauses are. They have a more vibrant green today. So I used Vallejo light green gray and Vallejo flat green, mixed it up to try and get it as close to that older color as possible. Before I put any decals on, I did hit it with a Tester's flat lacquer. So obviously I don't want this thing shiny, I want it to look old. So no 2K clear on this one. So the Lesney model did not come with livery, so I had to hop on the old Google machine, find some vector images of the actual Claas logo from back in the day, and put together some name badges. And here you can see me applying them, a little bit of water to start off with. Now, typically I don't record myself putting decals on because, as you can see, they're tiny. They're not made for big stumps that I have for fingers. So, it's a little fragile, a little difficult, a little bit fiddly, if you will. So here I'm putting the Claas name badge behind the driver, as it should be. In a little bit you'll see me put on the rest of the decals. So in a moment you'll see why I don't video myself doing this. Putting decals on can be very frustrating at times. As I said, I don't have those delicate, never worked in my life hands. So sometimes it gets a little hard to get these tiny little bits in here. As you can see, I'm fighting with this one. Don't like the way it looks. And then disaster. Trying to unroll it and it rolls up. So guess what? Yoink! Goes bye-byes. So when I print out my own decals, I often print several of the same livery for multiple reasons. Mainly in case I want to do another one, or in this case where something goes wrong and I gotta try again. Such is life, right? So here she is, all painted, decaled up, given the proper Claas Green and red rims. We'll get this put together. I'll pin in the wheel axles and the real axle. Let's take a look. So pinning them, you got to be really careful. You don't want to slip and hit the paint that you just did. The reason you peen these over, obviously the way that Lesney did their axles, they peened them or they pinched them. The very original first run series of most of their cars had pinched axles. So before we take a look at the final result, let's take a look at some farm sim action with this guy. So here we are at the end of the journey. This is what we started with, the Lesney Matchbox number 65 Claas Combine Harvester. This is what it started off as. Not too bad, just missing some wheels, but definitely the wrong color. So here it is, all done. The Lesney Matchbox number 65 Claas Combine Harvester, done in green with the proper red rims, the proper red reel, logos, livery, the whole 9 yards. Thank you for stopping by. If you could, take a second to like and subscribe, leave me a comment, let me know what you liked. If you didn't like it, make sure your comments are constructive. I want to give a huge shout out to Bad Pumpkin Gaming. I will leave his YouTube channel down in the description. He is pretty much the reason, the inspiration to get back into this. So again, thank you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.